Who knew that a shave and washing my hair would make me look like a new man? Today we're talking about, or I'm talking about, and you're listening to... Today I want to talk about the paradox of individuality, or at least that's what I'm calling it. I'm not sure once we get to the end of the video if that title will make sense anymore. We'll see. This came to mind because I was reading through some entries I made in my journal about 2 months ago where I went downtown into the city during a sporting event where there was like a ton of people in the neighborhood I was in, and I started to feel a extremely high level of anxiety, almost like panic. I was like, oh no, there's so many people. And part of it was just this experience of seeing so many people that it's like, I'm not important. I don't matter. Oh my gosh. Maybe that says a lot about how self-centered I am or how egotistical I am. I'm like, I matter so much. And then I go and just seeing a bunch of people, realizing that there are millions and billions of people in the world makes me realize, oh, I'm not that important. I talked about this a little bit in a past video, and some of you brought up the word sonder to explain it, which basically means the realization that all these passersby on the street have lives that are as vivid and complex as your own. And it's kind of a weird thing when you think about it. I mean, I just think about the complexity of my life, and you see some rando walking down the street that you'll never see again, and they have just as complex of a life. Taken to an unhealthy extreme, it can make you feel panicked to realize that these people view you in the same way that you view them, which is, I don't care about this person at all. This is just a stranger, it's a nobody. They might as well be like a hologram because my sphere of life doesn't cross theirs at all, that I know of. Part of the negative emotions that come up from it, I think, from just seeing other people, is maybe it comes from our culture in a way, because Western culture is very much about the individual, about the person, you know? Especially American culture, it's personified basically by the cowboy out on his own, smoking a Marlboro unfiltered cigarette. And so when we're presented with the basic fact that my individuality doesn't really matter all that much, it's this very, very unpleasant feeling. I'm not suggesting that individuality or personhood is bad. I'm just saying that when that's all you've been fed your whole life, sometimes you can forget that there's a lot of other individuals out there too. Hey, guess what? There's billions of other people in the world. I think this is brought to an extreme by celebrity culture, where we hold up these individuals as, in a way, being like demigods, basically. Like, this person exemplifies something great. They are above the crowd. They are an exceptional individual. And the really bad thing about celebrity culture is it makes you feel like a piece of S if you are not a celebrity and if your individuality hasn't been carved out from everyone else. Because celebrities are, like I said, kind of like a step away from the crowd. They're out above us, and it makes you feel kind of crappy when you're looking up at people and you're like, oh, I'm just part of the crowd, man. I'm just one of the masses. And then in another angle of it is the millennial mindset, the mindset of my generation, which is very much focused on go out and find yourself, discover yourself, find out who you are. And I'm not saying this is bad, don't get me wrong. It's good to figure out who you are, but there's also this element of it where you see it all the time with people who have these travel blogs and stuff where they basically have dropped out of regular society, regular life, and are just traveling and having adventures. I think that illustrates my generation's obsession in a way, or at least idealization of setting yourself apart from everyone else. Taking yourself outside of society, out of the expected system, and figuring out things for yourself. It's very individualistic. It's not like millennials came up with this idea. I think the previous generations who ended up raising us really valued that, and they instilled that in us in a very exaggerated way, perhaps. It feels sort of like my generation is all about fighting becoming a cog in the system, you know? Just another wheel turning around with all the other wheels. And you see it in the millennial generation with this, delayed adulthood where people are getting married later. They're not developing careers in the same way that past generations have. And part of it is the world's just different, It's a bit more difficult now to have like a career the same way that it was 30 years ago, let's say. But a lot of it also just has to do with people in their 20s and 30s not wanting to be tied down, not wanting to settle down and become a cog. My generation really values being able to maintain your individuality and the flexibility to just remove yourself from one set of circumstances and then explore other circumstances, other situations, other experiences. Of course, this just popped into my mind right now, so it could be something totally off the wall, but it seems to me a little ironic because on the one hand, millennials are really hesitant to make commitments, but then on the other hand, I feel like my generation is all into like getting tattoos and stuff. I feel like a higher percentage of millennials have tattoos than other generations. Yeah, it's like this form of commitment, of lifelong commitment that really isn't that important. It's like, yeah, man, I'm getting this thing on my body forever, but really it's just like it doesn't matter. So it's like we commit to certain things. We commit to a sleeve of tattoos, but we can't commit to a career by the time we're 30. Anyway, that was weird. I think I'm going to cut that. While I'm thinking of cutting that, let's cut to a commercial. Hi, and welcome to my travel blog. Today, we're in the Cinque Terre, I think. I'm not exactly sure what this is. All right, well, anyway, let's go get tattoos, guys. Thank you so much for sitting through that commercial. Now, yesterday, I brought up a old movie, Sullivan's Travels. Today's topic reminds me of another old movie from the 40s. I should just change my channel to become 40s movies reviews. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I might start another channel doing that. But this is like It's a Wonderful Life. Clarence, I want to live again, Clarence. Jimmy Stewart, George Bailey. Jimmy Stewart, aka George Bailey in the movie, he's depressed. He's like, man, I never lived my life. I never got to travel like I wanted to. I got married to this chick and had kids instead, and my house is falling apart. And I'm working this job that I didn't want to work because I inherited it from my dad because I felt guilty and crap. My life sucks. And he's like, then Uncle Billy loses all the money, and he's like, where's the money, you stupid silly man? And he's gonna kill himself. I mean, most of it is because of the money going missing, but he basically hates his life. And Clarence, the angel, shows him what his life would be like if he had never been born, and he realizes the town would be in shambles. Everything would be falling apart without him. The point of the movie is it's a wonderful life, even if it sucks. But it's kind of actually, in a way, a sad movie when you're looking at it, because he never got to do any of the things he wanted to. But I guess the movie is about sacrificing parts of your individuality in order to become an important cog in the system. I feel like a movie like It's a Wonderful Life wouldn't be made today. I feel like if there was a movie with a similar premise, it would be about how he should have gone traveling and he should have, ditched out on his town. That movie, perhaps, is putting forth the best goal you can have is to try to become the biggest, most important cog in the system, the wheel that everyone is relying on. And maybe that's where purpose comes from in life, is having people depend on you, being important to others, to the community. Look, I think self-development is extremely important. I focus on it a lot. I mean, that's my channel. A lot of it is introspection, looking into yourself and figuring things out. But when it's taken to an extreme and you're really focused on self-development and individuality and you're trying to avoid becoming part of the system, if you're trying to avoid being a cog in some way, your life becomes irrelevant and pointless, you know? Yeah, I'm a great person. I've really worked on myself. And now no one relies on me. I don't have any support system. And when you think about it, if George Bailey had really gone off and done all his travels like he wanted to, traveled the world, and then suddenly wished he had never been born, and the angel was showing him that life, maybe nothing would have been different. It would have been like, actually, no one would have been affected if you had never been born. Using the term cog in the machine, in the system, sounds really negative, doesn't it? We're kind of trained to not want to be part of the system. I want to get out of the system, man. But I don't mean it as something bad here. I just mean it like working with other people, helping them turn, as you the cog turns, you're turning other people and helping them to turn other people, and it goes out and out from there. It's not an isolated thing. And of course it works both ways. The people around you are cogs helping you to turn, which is something to keep in mind. You know, only surround yourself with people who you want to turn you. This metaphor is going off the rails here, but if you're a cog, only surround yourself with other cogs that are helping you turn the way that you want to turn. Get it? So that's my take on the paradox of individualism, individuality, whatever I said the title was, that we think being an individual is so important to us, and that's what we value, but in some ways that is getting in the way of us being happy, I think, or living a life that has any meaning. If you'd be so kind, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Give it a like if you like my beardless look. Give it a like if you'd prefer literally any other look. You all take care, stay cool and attractive.